Your charm personified. Who have you met that you couldn't crack?
Robert Rubin was very hard. The genius finance minister under Clinton, the first one before Larry Summers. He was against debt cancellation because he was a student of Alexander Hamilton, who was the very first Treasury Secretary of the United States, who, when pressured not to repay debts to England, to the empire, because they had just broken free of it, he said, no, we'll pay them everything they're owed and we'll establish creditworthiness that way. He was hard, but he also came up, he helped me when he left office. There's a thing we're about to get involved in. It's just starting to announce it, which I could talk to you about for 2 seconds. It's called the RED campaign. So it's for the AIDS emergency. It's for people who are involved in commerce and fashion. People who maybe they're not. It's not about putting your marching boots and going to Gleneagles, but it's about getting AIDS drugs to Africans who need it. And Robert Rubin was sitting in a meeting just like this with me, and he said, I didn't run with the debt cancellation thing, but you got your way there, so congratulations. He said, your real problem is, he said, the United States, Europe, and wherever else, people don't understand, one, the nature of the problem, and two, they don't understand that the problem can be solved. He said, in order for you to achieve your end, you're going to need to go after this like a major corporation would go after its advertising and marketing, like a cigarette company would. So we had then, well, they've got access to multi-millions of dollars, which we don't have. So I then cooked up this idea of the RED campaign, which was to get into the marketing budgets of major corporations, not their philanthropy budgets. So we signed on Amex. There's a RED card. Whichever you use this RED American Express card, 1% goes. There's RED phones, RED networks. We're going to be all, he'll be sick of me, or even more sick of me, at the end of the year. But hopefully you won't be sick of this RED campaign. And that came from Robert Rubin.
You talk about AIDS, something that you're very strong about. You said that one of the most significant meetings in your life was with Pope John Paul II, and the Vatican's policy on condoms, of course, has been one of the reasons AIDS has been allowed to spread. Did you talk with him about that?
No, we went to meet with Pope John Paul on debt forgiveness, which they were very good at. I mean, the language in Pope John Paul's communique on debt was really amazing, incendiary stuff actually. And but it was interesting. An Irish person, a lot of people very strong feelings about the Pope in Ireland, for and against, particularly women, because of his attitude towards condoms. And of course in Africa, condoms are a necessity. But the truth of it is I have learned a respect for conservatives that I wasn't expecting to have. Don't ask nuns to give out condoms. Let's get other people to give out the condoms. They can do something else. The sort of the basis of the agreed upon basis for assistance to the AIDS emergency in Africa is called ABC: abstinence, be faithful, condoms. Everyone knows that, including the nuns. They just don't do the C bit. And I'm kind of just, let's go easy on it. Now, my friends on the left get very upset, and are right to, when that language is enforced. And so in the United States, you had Brazil saying to President Bush, we don't want your money because of language on prostitution and condoms. But I said to President Bush, I said, I did some research before I met you, and I have discovered that the largest purchaser of condoms on planet Earth is the United States government. And he just looked at me and just went, don't tell anyone that. But actually, because actually it's okay. It's okay. Nuns don't have to give out condoms. Somebody else can do it.
As a man of faith, when you look at Africa, what's your concept of a working God?
Look, on the God thing, I have to be really careful because I'm not a very good advertisement, and So I don't want to sit there and when you say I'm a man of faith, I'm sort of, yes, there I am. I just can't. I just recently read in one of St. Paul's letters where it describes all the fruits of the Spirit, and there was none of them. I had none of them, and
you fulfilled a Christian ideal.
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, all the commandments I've broken, and the ones I haven't, I've probably wanted to. But that said, I do have a faith, and it is challenged on a daily basis by what I see in Africa. Yes. And yet, more than that, I have a sense that really people are the problem. We're the problem, really. I mean, God gets a lot of bad press. The tsunami was very eloquent in a way, the response to it. And there's a natural disaster, or this awful misnomer, Mother Nature, it's just dreadful. But in Africa, you have an avoidable catastrophe of tsunami proportions every week. So we have the technology, we have the resources, if we have the will. So I've gone through my shouting at God, I've gone through my angry phase, but I finally end up looking at my own indolence and fighting with it, and indifference, because I have it too, and I feel that I'm not alone in this. I feel there's a generation of people that kind of realized this isn't something we can really blame God for. This is about us, really, and so that's where I am on it.
Of course, your longtime friend and collaborator, Bob Geldof, what kind of a man is he in your life?
Well, he occupies a position that really no other occupies, because he lit the touch paper for me, and not just political activism in the sense that what is achievable, but in so many ways how a singer can change shape into different areas of taking care of business, as Elvis, used to have that thing, or taking care of his business. Just a guy who, I think he probably thinks that his creative life is in one corner and then he has all this other stuff that he does. He's really wrong. What Bob needs to know is that his life is the creative life. It's not just the music. He has made his whole life the work, and the way he is in that family. We were talking about the Pope earlier. I just remember standing there with the Pope, and I'd swapped my glasses for a pair of rosary beads, which I'm wearing now. Look, these ones. The crooked cross, it's called. Michelangelo designed it, right? So, I had my rosary that the Pope had given me, and I'm going, that's really great. Bob's there, listen, could I have another 3? I've 4 kids. And he really is remarkable. And, people say, it's good cop, bad cop. But actually, both of us are very tough, and it's whatever means necessary. I think we're both into ultimate fighting. The only difference is that I accept the rules of ultimate fighting, which is you can't poke someone in the eye or bite them, and Bob doesn't. So I have seen him try to bite prime ministers, and I've had to call him up. Tony Blair, I'm actually literally spittle coming out, invective coming out, and Tony reaching over to me going, I believe you've a greatest hits coming. Just to get a break from Geldof.
Do you have a secret signal with Bob? If he goes over, there is no off with him at all. And but I think I think he is the poet of he's a poet of expletives at the very least, but of the lingua franca, as he calls it. He is our greatest poet. If media and music is the lingua franca, as he calls it, then he is our greatest poet. A man you love?
I love him, yeah.